Success now.
Yes. How are you?
Good, thank you. And yourself?
I'm doing good. I'm doing good. Yeah.
Good.
It was a hectic week, so I'm happy for the weekend and, just relaxing a little bit.
Yes, yes, same here. Yeah.
No, I can't imagine with the festival and everything.
Yeah, I've been like humbled, honored, so, so emotional because just like your script, some other scripts, the films, I'm just like, wow, like
Oh,
seriously, like I don't know why
oh,
women don't get more credit. It's really, really sad.
yeah,
Like, it's just terrible because what are we sending out to, little girls everywhere? Like, you know,
that's so important. Like, funny you say that because I decided, I was looking for new topics to write. I've written other things since the Countess, but I was thinking of different genres, and I was like, you know what, I just want to put like out happy, inspirational stories. I just feel like I don't want to sort of, I mean, there's room for everything, but personally I just want to like put like positivity and that those type of stories out. So yeah, I totally hear what you're saying, and I have two little girls, so
ah.
I kind of feel like I kind of have to like write for them in a way.
Yes, beautiful. Exactly. What are we leaving behind? How are we building people up? You know?
100%. Yeah, yeah.
Yes, yes. Oh, this is beautiful. I usually do like, I'll ask you to introduce yourself and then I'll introduce you, but I'm gonna leave this in. So
Okay.
you want to introduce yourself now?
Of course. So hi, I'm Irina Rodriguez. I'm I guess both a writer and an attorney. I'm a practicing attorney for the last I want to say 16 years, and a writer for a little less than that. And I write pretty much both for film and television. And the one consistent, I guess, through line is I write female protagonists and sort of female driven stories.
Beautiful, beautiful. And did this sort of come up naturally for you? Was it deliberate, or how did that come about?
Yeah, so I actually went to college. I went to undergraduate school for film. So I've always loved film, and that's actually how I learned to speak English, like watching a lot of old films. And yeah, I studied that in college. And then when I graduated, I realized I didn't have any connections. So I had to sort of reimagine what my future would be like, and ended up going to law school and sort of focusing on that for a long time. Had kids, got married, and then got divorced. And after the divorce, I felt like, okay, I have some spare time, with the custody thing. So I was trying to look for something to do, something productive, and I kind of um, restarted sort of my interest in writing. And the Countess is actually the first thing I wrote.
That's amazing. Yeah, no, there's a lot there I'd like to get into. Where did you come from originally? So English isn't your first language?
No, so I was
No.
born and raised in Puerto Rico,
Okay.
and I came to the States for college.
Ah, beautiful. Yeah, no, that's so awesome. I love how inspiring that is because so many people, want to come to America and build up their lives and their dreams. So you're living proof, you know, that it,
Yeah, in a way. Yeah, in a way.
yes. No, that's beautiful. And so how did you kind of fall into law? What kind of law do you practice?
So I was working at an agency in Puerto Rico. I was a secretary, and there were lawyers in the office, and they sort of saw something in me, and they said you should try and go to law school. And that's what I ended up doing. Like, I never thought that I could be a lawyer. Like, it was, I never knew a lawyer growing up or anything like that. So when they described what it was to me in terms of like what type of education, like it's only 3 years and blah blah blah. So then I decided to do that. I ended up going into antitrust, so anti-competitive or competition law. So I investigate mergers and acquisitions, and I'm an antitrust enforcer basically. And I've been doing that for I was on the private side for the first half of my career and representing multi-billion-dollar companies and that type of thing. And then after I became a mom, I made the move toward government work, and that's what I've been doing, and I love it.
Ah, fantastic. That's
Yeah.
awesome. So you have all these different facets of your life that feed your soul.
A lot, yeah, yeah.
That's wonderful.
That's a beautiful way to put it. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, no, that's great. Again, I feel it's so important that women can see they can have it all, right? A satisfying career and still being a mom
Yeah.
and yes, and still doing other things. No, that's fantastic. Brava.
Yeah.
You have a
Thank
very
you.
well balanced life. Beautiful.
Thank
Um,
you.
I was wondering, how did you focus on for your script, The Contessa? How did you find Miss Lovelace? How did
Yeah, that's a great question. It was completely by happenstance. So I'm like a history nut. I love learning about, first, like who was the first this and what was the first that, and just going back, and I remember I was just thinking about computers and just trying to learn more about the history of computers, and I came across Charles Babbage, who's featured in the screenplay, and read a little bit about him, and then there was a reference to Ada Lovelace, who was worked with him. It was a very brief reference, and then known as the first computer programmer. And the fact that she was from Victorian England, the fact that they were working on computers in the 1850s, that kind of into 1840s 1850s, that blew my mind. And then she was actually Lord Byron's daughter, which was, I studied literature undergrad, so I knew of his work, obviously, and he was like the Elvis of his time. So I was shocked by like all these interesting connections, and the fact that I'd never heard of her name. Like I never until that day had heard the name Ada Lovelace. So at the time, this was like a few years ago, there wasn't a lot of stuff out about her, even on the web. Now there's a lot more, so that's good. Yeah, I just found her to be fascinating and kind of unheralded. Like nobody really talks about her, considering what she
yeah.
accomplished. So, and I love, period pieces, and I was like, okay, this sounds like a fun little project, to get me started. And I like, fairly quickly, I like outlined the whole story, and then it's been through, it's been through quite a few iterations. I've gotten into, it's scored well on, the blacklist, and it's done well at some festivals. And I got into the Writers Lab, which was like this great, I don't know if you've heard of them. It's like a group, or a program geared towards women, female writers above 40. And then you kind of just work in this intensive, environment, and you get feedback, you get assigned a mentor, and you improve your script. And I feel like the screenplay improved vastly. This was, I want to say, a year and a half ago. And with their help and their guidance, I feel like it improved, a lot. And yeah, so that's been like the journey. I feel like, I can sort of, she's like my shadow now, like, so very, very grateful, because it sort of validated, in a sense, okay, I can do this, and it's, and it inspired me to do other things, other stories. So she's the original.
Yeah, no, I sincerely, I loved it. I was reading it and it was like the same points that you brought up. Like, why is nobody talking about this woman?
Crazy.
And yeah, so it just goes to show, and yeah, how long ago we've been working on computers, 1800. I mean,
Yeah.
yeah, just totally fascinating script and so well written. Brava.
Thank you. And your emails
Yes.
were so sweet. Thank you so much.
Oh, you're welcome. No, it's my pleasure and my joy. Like I was saying, like I am just overwhelmed by how, great your script is, a few other ones as well. Yeah, no, I'm just
Mm,
overjoyed with the response the festival has gotten this year by some really quality work. I love that you've been able to work in with the mentor and
yeah.
it goes to another point where sometimes as writers we're like, oh, okay, it's done. There's my 110 pages, my 90 pages, or what have you. It's done. And it's just like, no, not yet.
Oh, yeah. It's a living document. It's, and it keeps, as you evolve, it evolves, and getting feedback from other people is so helpful. I welcome it a lot. I know that a lot of people are kind of, proprietary, and I get it. But
Mm.
for me, it's a beautiful sort of give and take when people, suggest things, because I mean, it means like they've immersed themselves in the story and they like it and they want it to, even be better than it already is. So, yeah.
Right, right. No, well, again, I can't say enough. Great job. I wonder for you, what since knowing that you also studied film, is your main goal to direct it one day? Like, do you want to be in the driver's seat for that? Are you comfortable giving your baby away to somebody else? Like, what's that
Yeah.
process like for you? What are you
That's a great
thinking?
question. It's funny because if you'd asked me that like 3 years ago, I would have flatly said no. Like, no, I just, I'm fine. Like, I trust, whoever, wants to tell the story. I'm sure they'll do a good job. Um, but it's like my curiosity has been piqued in terms of like the directing, and maybe not a project like this, not a feature, but like I'd be interested in doing like some short films, and see how that works, and how I feel in that environment. But if I had the opportunity to have somebody else direct it, I'd be thrilled. I just would love for the story to get made, by whoever makes it. So,
I agree. Yeah, no, that's beautiful. I'd love to see it on the screen.
me too.
Yes. Yeah.
That's the
Your
dream.
descriptions are just so vivid. It's all there. It's all
Oh,
there.
thank
Yeah.
you.
Yeah.
Thank you. I hope so.
Yes. Yes. Amen. Yeah. No, just put it out there. Yeah. I believe in positive thinking and just,
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah. No, and you're very talented.
Thank you.
I'm so grateful that you're in our festival this year. Yes.
That's so sweet. Thank you.
Yes. No. So what else is on your horizon right now? Your next scripts, or are you planning on shooting a short to get your feet wet and see what happens? What's your next step?
Yeah, I think the next step is another feature. I've been writing mostly like television for the last couple of scripts, and I feel like I'm ready to go back into a longer form type of storytelling. I've been toying with the idea of like writing a novel, but it would be in Spanish. It would be kind of not memoirs, but sort of, I guess, memoirs. Certainly not an autobiography, but just people that have, that have traveled life with, and have influenced me in one way or another. So I'm kind of weighing what to do next. Work's really busy, so I have to be realistic, about what to
Yeah.
do. But like writing seems to, like, right now, like, fit into the framework. But the film story that I'm thinking about, it's also a period piece, but it's takes place in the 80s in New York, and it's about dancing, and it's gonna be a lot of fun to write. So I put together a treatment, and I'm excited to start writing that.
Beautiful. So it seems like your process, because I love like hearing how different writers like actually write. Like I interviewed a director, writer, cinematographer, Steven Bernstein, and he was saying like he has like a slop draft method where, you know, just throw it all on the page and make sense of it later. But what I'm kind of hearing from you is that you like the more tailored approach of like a treatment, an outline.
Yeah.
That's what works better for you.
Yeah, I think particularly for like a screenplay, it helps ground me. And you know, I don't want to say there is a formula to it, but there is a structure from, I don't know, from like ancient times. Like there's like a way that we tell stories. So I try to, you know, sort of, I'm not Tarantino, like I don't have like that imagination to completely like deconstruct the genre and like, you know, do my own thing. So I'm kind of like more traditional in that sense. And I like to have a story marinate, like with the Countess. I read about her. It took a while actually for it to sort of, you know, become this thing in my head that I felt like, oh, okay, like it's gestated enough. I think it's ready to come out into the world. And that's when I did the outline. I hadn't like, I sort of like, it just sits there and then I sit down and it's wild because you always hear people saying, oh, like, you know, musicians, for instance, or songwriters, like they say, oh, it's like the music just comes to you. Like when I write, it's like literally like, it's like I can hear them talking and it's like I'm taking dictation and it's kind of like this really magical, you know, space, but I have to get there sort of organically. I can't like just like make it happen. So I think that's like the marination process and, you know, getting sort of immersed in this world and reading about the era and like, okay, what was the technology about and what did they wear? What did they eat? Like, you know, where did they go to the bathroom? You know, like just everything that I can think of that to make it as realistic as possible. So yeah, so it's an inner process. Then it becomes kind of very structured once I sit down and write it out.
Beautiful, beautiful. Yeah, no, I think that's so helpful, you know, for people who are hearing this, you know, that might inspire them to do the same, you know, like, oh, okay, I get it. I could kind of pick up her tools and her ways and see, you know, how it works for me. Yeah, no, I'm curious about you were saying you write for TV because I'm wondering how does that come about for you? Do you write the Bible first and then your pilot episode or vice versa or
it's funny, I've never written a Bible. I just go with the pilot. I mean, I could sit down again because of the whole marination process. Like I have it in my head. I have written sort of like arcs after I write a pilot. I'm like, okay, like this is where this person's storyline will go for like 1, 2 seasons, 3 seasons, however many. And that's a lot of fun because you get to really just project into the future and like it helps actually to then go back and work on your pilot again because then you have like a clear vision of motivation and wants and things like that. So but it's a similar process again. Like if something will spark an idea or like a family member will have gone through something that I thought was interesting and I'll just like take that as my starting point and then exaggerate everything. And I will say the difference is I feel like it's much quicker. Like it's just like you have to pack a lot more into a very sort of condensed amount of time. Right. So and at the same time I'm just writing quicker. Like it takes like, you know, one script I wrote that did well sort of like around festivals and like got a 9 on the blacklist. I wrote it in like a week. So wow. So it's just like it depends. And then there's others that it's like I just like need more work and, you know, continuously sort of work on it.
Yeah. Oh, beautiful. Okay, I think that's unless you have any closing words.
No, I mean, just thank you so much for your words and your kindness and you know, your eagerness to sort of inspire people to keep doing what we do. It's much appreciated. I like genuinely appreciate it.
I genuinely appreciate you sharing your talents with the festival, with the world. And yes, and just again, you're super talented.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you so much.
Wonderful writer. Thank you so much. Thank you, Irina.